I found myself in a really difficult, like dark place where I knew how I was living was not sustainable. I just couldn't think clearly at all. And so as I started to kind of unravel, I started doing a lot of inner and outer work. And as I found certain tools to be really helpful, I felt really called and inspired to share them with other people.
Welcome to the Kindness Is podcast, where we take a deep dive into the true meaning of kindness. I'm your host, Kaitlin Johnstone, the co-founder of Kind Cotton. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, happy Monday. So I have been thinking so much about this community that I have been developing, and I really want to fully be invested in creating community and cultivating kindness in a world of chaos. I want to be able to offer a space in which we feel as though not only are we talking about the tragedies that are going on in our world and coming together to find solutions to them while being engaged and in community and supporting one another, I also want to offer some true self-care. And that's an area in which I have lacked. I have not been the person to show up for myself while showing up for others. I have been the person who fights and is passionate and keeps going and going and going and going and going until a point of burnout. And it's something that I want to model for other people. I want to show that it's important to rest and it's important to breathe, and we need to take breaks, and we need to continue to love ourselves as much as we love fighting for humanity. So with that being said, I'm thinking that this community is going to be rolled out at the start of 2024, but prior to doing so, I have some really special things planned with one of my dearest friends who is an expert in this area. So I hope you love this week's episode. I hope it gives you an opportunity to pause and reflect and know that you matter and that your mental well-being and happiness is just as important as anything else you do for yourself. Hey everyone, and welcome to a very special, almost bonus episode of the Kindness Is Pod. I'm so grateful to have my friend here today. Those of you who've been following me for a really long time may already know Katie. I've showcased some of her books. We've done some collaborations in the past, and we are here today to share some really exciting news that her and I just spoke about a week or two ago. So before we dive right in, I want to give you a little brief history of what makes Katie so special. She was raised in the same exact hometown as I was, Ellenville, New York. She moved to Piermont in 2012 and opened up Peace and Piermont. At PIP, Katie teaches children, adults, and family ways of de-stressing and living in the present moment. After noticing the impact of her teachings and feeling inspired to share them with a broader audience, Katie began creating a book series. The Give Your Brain a Bath book series aims to teach readers both the importance of practicing self-care and various methods of doing so to increase self-awareness and one's ability to self-regulate. Katie, I am so happy to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here and have time with you.
So can you go into, before we jump into why you and I are kind of here together in this space, can you go into a little bit of a brief history about what really inspired you to do all of the things that you do?
Yeah, for sure. I always liked to do a lot of things since high school. Like I always wanted to do every, sport and extracurricular activity I could, just because I'm naturally very curious and I like keeping busy. And that kind of mentality and pattern continued throughout like early adulthood and like working multiple jobs while in school. And, I changed my major quite a bit because I liked a lot of things. So I like flirted with some different things and changed it, but was very determined to graduate on time. And so I did a lot. Like I was in school and working full time and part time, and eventually, like after I had graduated from graduate school and was teaching, working multiple jobs, it all caught up to me. And I found myself in a really difficult, like dark place where I knew how I was living was not sustainable. And stress impacts everybody differently. For me, it really impacts my sleep. It impacts
Mm.
my gut and my digestion. My hair was falling out, like my skin was just a mess, and I just couldn't think clearly at all. And so as I started to kind of unravel and look at, look in the mirror at these um, very deeply ingrained patterns and behaviors and thoughts and feelings, I started doing a lot of inner and outer work. And as I found certain tools to be really helpful, I felt really called and inspired to share them with other people. And so I started to work as a coach and just reach out to family and friends, kind of as just something fun I was doing, just to help others. And then it just became so much more when I found myself in a really toxic work environment again, and I needed to make a change. So I decided to turn it into a career and started really working with others, working as a paid coach for others. And that kind of spiraled into working with families. And as I did more trainings, becoming eager to work with kids again. I had been a preschool teacher and a special ed teacher before. And so it became that. And it doing the work, doing the trainings, practicing mindfulness and meditation has helped me heal from a lot of different childhood and early adulthood traumas. And because it took me so long and so much work, to find things that helped me really like move through it and process it and like work through it. I was really eager to share that with others because I wanted to, alleviate any pain or like suffering or like the trial and error, if you will, you know, um, from their journey. So then I started doing more with it, and that's kind of what spiraled into Peace and Piermont, and then the books, and yeah,
And here we are. I
and
feel
here we
like I'm
are.
listening to myself. It's so funny because I don't know that I've ever heard your full backstory. And that was me. And I'm sure that is a lot of particularly women who listen to this podcast is that we do all the things, right? And we do all the things with these incredibly high expectations that we put upon ourselves. I mean, my husband all the time is telling me, no one's telling you you need to do XYZ. Take a break, do whatever you need to do for you. But I have told myself that for so many years that I need to be the best mom. I need to be the best teacher at the time. I need to be the best daughter. I need to be the best business owner. I need to almost be working out and improving myself, but not in a way in which I'm happy to do so. And that all shifted for me when the pandemic hit. And I take that as if we can look at such a horrible time in history as almost this gift in which I was able to slow down and embrace things that were really important to me. And it's just so interesting to hear you talk about all of that because I was burning out
Mhm.
heavily, 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 heavily burning out and just kept pushing forward. So I love that you share that. And I think that's something that kind of is a beautiful segue into why you and I connected a couple of weeks ago, because I shared with you that I really am focused on creating this community in which we can all really be there for one another through a world of chaos right now. Because I think, regardless of if you can really understand and empathize with what Katie and I just shared, you absolutely can empathize with the state of the world right now and feeling the pressures of that. And I said to Katie, oh my goodness, I think this would be a beautiful way for you and I to connect. Interestingly enough, Katie reached out to me before I could even express all of this to her. So, can you share a little bit about why you were drawn to connect with me about what you're thinking about?
Yeah, for sure. So, well, I love you to pieces. Like I love you personally,
Mhm.
and I love what you do professionally. I think that you do such important, impactful work, and I think you inspire so many people through your work. I feel really emotional saying that too, like wholeheartedly.
Mhm.
Like I am always in awe of everything you do. Um, and I think you do so much to empower and uplift and support people, especially who need that, like that voice, that uplifting, um, through all the different ways you do it, right? You do it through your videos, your messages, through your it's infiltrated like everything you do, like your emails, your shirts themselves, like all the different uh partnerships that you have that you raise money for. Like I just am always in awe of everything you do and how helpful it is to people who need it so much. And I think that you and all of the people that you support are really people who need this, who need mindfulness, because
Mhm.
because we can't pour from empty cups. And because this work does take a toll on all of us, and also it can feel really disheartening at times to have a lot of energy, or passion more so for a cause, but to feel so conflicted over how to help, right? And so I think you do such a great job of that, of teaching and showing people and demonstrating how to take it and do something about it, right? But then also there's that part of like, okay, well, we've given so much, whether it's emotionally, um, financially, all the different means, but then like replenishing that, because it does
Mhm.
take a toll on us. So it's like it's a matter of, taking the time to fill yourself back up. And so that's where I think these videos come into play. I know when I called you, I shared like I had the video making videos that teach people about mindfulness and how to implement it and integrate it easily, um, are something I did a lot throughout the pandemic. And we talk about kind of like, patterns are deep. So I know as much as I've been practicing and teaching mindfulness now for 5 years or so, 6 years practicing meditation, I still can revert back to old habits. So I needed to take a break to just fill myself back up, and also like have a baby and and
Mhm.
postpartum and everything. But I felt really called to reconnect with the videos because I think that they're a great offering to give people, to make it accessible, to connect with others, to build community. So I've been doing on my personal pages and my business pages. And you came to mind as I was sitting in meditation a few weeks ago, because I think there's so much synergy between what we do,
Mhm.
um, personally and professionally, and our values are really aligned. And I think, again, like the people that uh you are really like serving in so many ways. Like I think too, like that it would be really beneficial to offer them, you know, different ways of replenishing themselves, when they're feeling depleted from life, how to fill themselves back up, how to pause and like take care of themselves first before helping others. Because if we're not showing up, as our authentic selves and our best in our highest power. And we're also not demonstrating to others, what we need to do, right? It's kind of like just for our kids, right? If we're not taking care of ourselves first, we're passing along that pattern to our daughters or our sons or our kids, to do that, to do the same. So this is what I feel like is meant to be like a collaborative offering to our
Yes.
people. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that's the piece that I was missing. And that's the piece that, for anyone who's listening to this, I feel like that is the piece that I'm always missing. I talk about it, right? I talk about the need to show up for yourself as much as you're showing up for others. However, I have not been a good teacher when it comes to that because I am not modeling it. I'm not really investing in myself in the ways in which I need to continue to invest in others. And people don't really see that. I mean, I hate to say it, but the reality of our situation living in America lately is it's kind of tragedy after tragedy. And there are moments where I feel like I'm getting DMs and people are like, how can I help? What can I do? And I feel this constant need to put out useful, helpful action steps. And I love doing what I do. Don't take this wrong by any means. However, oh, hello. There we go. Um, my emotional support animal just walked on my laptop for those of you who cannot see and are listening to this. Um, but the thing is, that is the piece that I'm missing. And that's where I'm so grateful to you because I know that this is your area of expertise. I can come to you when I'm feeling stressed and anxious. And now we can almost set apart this little carved out time once a week to kind of feel all the feelings together, to put them out into the world, to allow people to know that they are not alone, and then to also practice just being together. And I think a lot of people need that. And I think it'll be an easy way. I don't want to say easy. I hate saying that because along with meditation and true self care and taking these breaks and taking these moments comes an immense amount of privilege. So I want to be cognizant of that. However, I love that we're going to give some space to at least provide an opportunity for people to know that it is available to them. So I know that we haven't really completely decided exactly what we are going to do, but I want people to know about Katie. I want people to know that this is coming, and I want people to really have a space in which they can feel connected.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, if we wanted to like float out there for anyone listening who is interested in any of this, things to either consider or let us know, like, mindfulness, just to kind of throw this out there, mindfulness is the practice of being here now. It's moment to moment awareness. It's paying attention to the present moment with curiosity and non-judgment. And so anything that piques anyone's interest, any questions, or maybe something you've heard of that you're unsure about, or that you want to learn more of, or clarity, anything related to that, I feel like could be a good segue into this all, or maybe if you're in a certain circumstance where you've tried and it feels unaccessible for some reason, if you've been through trauma, or there's a lot of different modifications and modalities to tap into also for that I think is really important, especially for this audience. So if sitting silently isn't for you, there's just different things we can consider or talk about. So if I'm not sure how you have people give you feedback for things
Mhm.
like this, right? But I don't know if it's in the comments or DMs or however, or they can email either of us, whichever, and we can kind of hone in on something. If you feel comfortable sharing a trauma you've been through or something where you feel stuck, and we can kind of like unravel that
Mm.
together, maybe practice some things together, that could be a path we go down.
Yeah, I love that. Please tell us what you want to hear
Yeah.
about. You can email us, info@kindcotton.com. Katie, I want you to tell everyone where they can follow you, support you, how they could reach out to you too. That would be amazing. So please share that with us.
Yeah, our email too is hello@peaceandpiermont.com. You can follow me at something Katie. It's kind of like the umbrella of everything I do, or at Peace and Piermont. Either is great. But yeah, DM, email, anything, because yeah, the more we can like hone in on specific either roadblocks or curiosities or techniques, anything at all, I think the more specific we are and the more feedback we have, we can provide like an array of different tools that we hope can help people, practice self-care and regulate themselves when they're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, like inundated, if you will, with
Mm,
life. Yeah.
yes, yes. I mean, I think that's what we all need right now. And I'm really just so grateful for this opportunity. And the thing that's interesting, whenever I have someone on here, I ask them, what does kindness mean to you? And as I'm hearing you speak, I realize how even in these episodes, we always look at a definition that is centered around others. And I'm kind of curious, and I'm putting Katie on the spot here with this because this was supposed to just be an episode in which we were like, hey, this is what we've both been experiencing lately. This is how we want to come together going forward. This is how we want to create community. And I did not tell you that I was going to ask you what your definition of kindness is. So if you don't feel comfortable sharing, totally understand. But I am kind of wondering if you look at it in a different light than a lot of previous guests have.
Yeah, I would keep it simple and just say kindness is self-care.
Mm,
Because as I said before, like, and when we're taking care of ourselves and we're grounded and
mhm.
centered, we are speaking our truth, we're living authentically, and we're uplifting and inspiring everyone around us to do the same. So I think that taking care of ourselves, and I think that, self-care has been thrown around and has become, really trendy, which is helpful in some ways, but keeping it really simple and close to home is like, you know, self-care is taking a deep breath when you need to. It's bringing your hand over your heart and connecting with your body. It's reminding yourself that you're proud of yourself and you love yourself. It's these little moments, these little tools that we'll go into that can be practiced anywhere you are. You don't need a mat, you don't need a cushion, you don't need anything except yourself. And so I think that is kindness, and that I think is where we're going with all this.
Yes, it is beautiful. I'm excited. If you had to go into this week before we actually put out our first video saying to people, what is one thing that they can do for themselves this week, what would it be?
Pause. So practice your pause. And this is something I've been saying a lot in my videos too, is like, before you do something, whether it's get out of bed in the morning, transition from one thing to the next, even right now, before the video ends, it's like, practice your pause, soften your gaze or close your eyes if that's comfortable, bring your hand over your heart and or your belly, take a few deep breaths, notice how you're feeling, and just let anything that feels important, that feels present, allow it to just settle like a snow globe. You're just watching your thoughts or feelings go to the bottom of the snow globe. And then you can continue this until you feel complete. Once you do, maybe bring your hands to your arms, give yourself a hug, remind yourself, I love you and I'm proud of you, and then continue on.
I needed that more than I realized today because I was feeling incredibly anxious hopping on this call. So I hope that helped all of you too. I'm excited for the future. Please let us know any topics, any tips, anything that you want to hear about from us. And we look forward to this new adventure together. Katie, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. So good to see you.
I am so beyond excited to start exploring this opportunity with Katie, to be able to sit down and talk authentically with vulnerability and share with one another how we are truly feeling on a weekly basis is not only going to mean so much to us, but I hope that you are able to connect to these experiences and know that you are not alone. And then I hope that we can all learn from the tools that she's going to be able to provide us in order to feel calm, to feel in the present, to embrace everything that is going on and know that our feelings are valid and that we are able to feel them. And what can we do to create peace and kindness within ourselves? I hope this resonated with you all. I hope that it is your reminder this week to pause and to just be, because we all need that and we're all worthy of that. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Kindness Is podcast. If you love it and it's adding even a little bit of value to your life, we would love, love, love if you could subscribe, rate, and review so we can reach even more people and make this world a little bit more kind.